Hello and welcome. I am Dr. Anil Joshi and we are in the series that is Learn Basics of Radiology with Dr. Anil Joshi. Today's topic is mammography. Mammography has got multiple lectures. Some lectures are on techniques, some are on the clinics, some are on the clinical aspect, some are on the pathological appearances, some are on the disease pattern, some are on pathogenesis, and in this lecture we are going to see a malignant pathologies, how they present on mammography. Earlier also there is a lecture in which the basic patterns are covered, in which we have differentiated different aspects, different pathologies, but in this particular lecture we are concentrating only on malignant pathologies. So malignant findings on mammography is topic of today's lecture. At the onset, disclosure. We have got most of the material of our own. Some material is from our educational activities of the department. Certain things are downloaded from the net, which are free of cost and without any royalties. With these disclosures, now we are going to our main topic. First is introduction. Now, to detect small cancer in a breast screening, it is essential to have a high quality images, because the tissue differentiation between the cancerous tissues and that of the breast tissues is sometimes not possible to differentiate. They have got same attenuation values. Radiologists reading mammogram should be trained in recognition of the malignant and benign signs of the lesion, that the benign masses of the breast, because breast cancers may not show typical malignant features at all the time. A large number of biopsies performed for benign breast abnormalities has long been recognized as a serious problem. However, we have got no alternative. But however, nowadays, because of the advent in the color Doppler and also the additional of MRI, these things can be reduced to some extent, and there are certain advantages in ultrasound like elastography. Now, mammographic and ultrasonographic features of different benign and malignant solid masses can be decrease the number of biopsies performed for being solid masses. All the solid masses are not malignant, and all the solid masses need not require biopsies. A circumscribed breast mass is defined as a round or oval breast lesion, well demarcated. It may correspond to different diagnoses. A benign lesion dominated by cystic or fibroadenomas. Now, malignant lesions such as medullary, papillary or mucinous carcinomas or well described ductal carcinomas. Now, we will go into the characteristics of the different masses and know how the lesions look like. First is mammographic features. These are in the shape, margin and boundaries. Then are the calcification, nipple changes and axillary lymphadenopathy, skin thickening and nipple retraction and architectural distortion, are to add a few more. Now, mammographic features of the breast cancer include two general categories. One thing is soft tissue mass. The most specific mammographic feature of a malignancy is a speculated soft tissue mass. Nearly 90% of these lesions represent invasive cancer. Then clustered microcalcification. These are the calcium particles of various size and shape, measuring between 0.1 to 1 mm in diameter, then numbering more than 5 or 5 per centimeter. Approximately 60% of the cancers are detected by these methods. Now, what are the limitations of mammographic assessment? The obscuring of the borders or extent of the primary tumors by a dense overlying tissues. For example, dense breast can limit the sensitivity of the mammography both for detection of the breast cancer and for delineating disease extent. In these settings, contrast enhanced breast magnetic resonance image may be complementary in the staging. Now, what are the features of benign and malignant masses? They are the universe shape, round oval. Here it is stellar, margins are circumscribed. Here it is speculated, mass density or low or fat containing. Here it is highly dense. Then calcification, annular, circular, and as eggshell. Then they can be lucent, coarse or popcorn like, a large rod like skin or dermal and vascular ones. The size may be uniform, distribution may be any, and density are sparse in benign. Now what happens in malignancy? The calcification are vermicellular, irregular, polyhedral, then pleomorphic, fine branches and numerous. The size may be heterogeneous, distortion of clusters or density is high. Now what is the role of sonography in this? Sonography does contribute the differentiation of benign versus malignant if the mass is not visible at mammography. In women younger than 30 years in whom mammography is less useful, ultrasonography is often considered as a modality of choice to initiate the evaluation of the breast masses. To reduce number of biopsies performed for benign breast abnormalities is a basic aim of all these studies. Now these are the few characteristics in benign and malignant. Shape is round in benign, oval, and in malignant it is irregular or more than lobulation. In benign there are less lobulations. Now margins are circumscribed in benign while it is spiculated, angular in malignant. Echo texture is homogeneous in benign while heterogeneous in malignant. The echo pattern is markedly hypoechoic and in malignant is pure intensely hyperechoic. Then posterior acoustic features are enhancement is in benign while in malignant there is a shadowing. The lesion boundaries are thick echogenic rim in benign while abrupt in malignancy. The mammographic features include juvenile fibroadenomas, myxoid fibroadenomas, then coronary complex and autosomal dominant neoplasia syndrome, skin mucosal lesion, myxomas and endocrinal disorders to add one. Now what are the malignancy of the breast? Here we are seeing a plural case of CA breast. The mass is irregular, it has got stipulation, there are microcalcifications and most important thing is tissue infiltration and calcification. Presence of mass showing tiny calcification, architectural distortion with soft tissue infiltration. Now mass, the ultrasonic features are the shape, margin, orientation of long axis and posterior acoustic features, and the lesion boundaries are the important thing in addition to the echo texture of the lesion. These are the ultrasonic characteristics. Now here we are seeing benign calcification. They are coarse, large, and there are multiple calcification not corresponding to breast tissues, forming a mass-like lesion in the breast proved to be malignancy. Now there are two lesions in it. One lesion you are seeing are the coarse calcification. They are benign. The second lesion you are again seeing here is the proved case of malignancy. So two lesions can coexist in the same patient, that is a benign and malignant. Now on X-ray mammography, the mass density could be higher or lower, occasionally radiolucent or mixed. There can be hollow sign seen, that is regular, lobulated, spiculated, and on ultrasound the malignancy findings also include what we have seen just now. The recollect again, the lesion is echogenic, then hypoechogenic, homogeneous or heterogeneous, occasionally hyperechoic or anechoic. The long axis could be wider, taller, and is seen almost equally. Now these are the things which are given here of the benign breast masses versus mammography and ultrasound. Benign we know because we have to differentiate them from malignancy. Now here we are seeing the circular cyst. Cysts are on mammography circular or oval, low density mass with smooth outline. On ultrasound there are well defined shape lesions without internal echoes and with posterior acoustic shadows. Now sebaceous cyst, this is like masses under the skin, a mass lying entirely within the skin surrounded by hyperechoic band, that is claw sign. Fibroadenomas are well defined lobulated masses and they have got popcorn-like calcification. Ultrasound has got isoechoic mass with wider than taller orientation and distal acoustic enhancement. Lipomas are the fat densities and they have got a capsule. Now ultrasound they are hypoechoic or mildly hyperechoic. Then hematomas are well defined heterogeneous masses with hollow sign, and in ultrasound they are well defined masses with some echo texture. Then inflammatory lymph nodes are well defined low density masses with fatty hilum, and on ultrasound they are hypoechoic nodule with an echogenic rim. Then let us come to malignancy of breast. Let us come to the malignancy of breast. You are seeing a lesion that is a malignant because see the outline, it is irregular, see the density, heterogeneous, infiltration present, calcification speckle tiny. Both on ultrasound and on mammography you can appreciate same the lesion. Now presence of mass without showing calcification with architectural distortion. Now my calcification are seen in mammography or in sonography. It is easy to detect it on sonography, and if they are seen on mammography, they are always seen on sonography also. So that is how we come to a diagnosis. Now this is the malignancy of subareolar region. You can see a mass infiltrating and the involved region. Presence of mass showing tiny calcification if you see carefully, and architectural distortion of the nipple with retraction due to subalveolar location of the lesion. Now let us come further. Presence of mass without showing calcification with architectural distortion. You are seeing a 100% proved, 100% typical malignant lesion. Now let us go to the next appearance. First we have seen mammographic feature में shape, margin, lesion boundaries. Now we'll come to calcification, which is a very important feature. Now terminal duct lobular unit. It is important structure because most invasive cancers arise from it. It is site of origin of ductal carcinoma in situ, lobar carcinomas in situ, fibroadenomas and fibrocystic disease like cyst, apocyne metaplasia, adenosis and epitheliosis. Now malignant masses are shown here. See the lesion. It is irregular. It is infiltrating in soft tissues. Then there are punctate calcification and architecture is distorted. Now what are the intraductal calcification? These calcification are calcified cellular debris or secretion within the intraductal lumen. These are extremely variable in size, density and forms. Then actually the word pleomorphic form, the Greek pleon of more and morphe forms. Sometimes they form a complete cast of ductal lumen. That is why these have a fine linear branching form and distribution. Then intraductal calcifications are suspicious of malignancy and are classified as BI-RADS 4 or 5. Now coming to diagnostic approach. This is to analyze the morphology, distribution, change of the time. This decides classification typically benign or not. So in addition to the classification, that is BI-RADS, shifting it up or down, this decide whether the calcifications are typical, maybe for benign or maybe for malignant or not. If not, they are either suspicious, indeterminate concern or of high probability of malignancy. Usually biopsy in these cases is needed to determine the etiology of calcification. Now calcification cannot be readily identified as typically benign or high probability of malignancy. They are terms of intermediate concern or suspicion. Now a specific etiology cannot be given. A description of calcification should include their morphology, distribution of using the descriptions give in BI-RADS atlas. Now what is the distribution? Distribution, does it tell anything? Does it add into information? In the BI-RADS atlas, the following descriptions are given for the distribution of calcification: diffuse or scattered. Diffuse calcification may be scattered calcification or multiple similar appearing clusters of calcification throughout the breast. What is regional? These are scattered in large volume of the breast tissues and not in expected ductal distribution. Now clustered, at least 5 calcification occupy a small volume of tissue, that is linear calcification, arrayed or a line which suggests a deposition in a duct. So we are seeing a distribution of calcification and the terminologies used for them like diffuse, regional, clustered or segmental. calcium deposit in the ducts and branches of the segment or lobe. Now changes over the time is also important. Now see the calcification on USG and mammography. Presence of mass without tiny calcification with architectural distortion. The role of sonography is in both ways, to know the calcifications are there or not, or if calcifications are there, to sub-classify them. Now we are seeing different cases. They will have different patterns and they will show you the different ideas in which the case is present. Now these are the if you are seeing on video, the calcifications are seen better. That is why we are demonstrating it on a video. Same patient, in different axes we are showing, because the calcification may not be appreciated on a single static image. Outline, everything will be shown in better ways on a video. In addition, you can get the Doppler signals also. See the outline, distorted outline, multiple small calcifications. These are all better seen when we see it on a video. Here also we can see same calcifications. Static as well as videos. Presence of mass showing tiny calcification, architectural distortion, all suggestive of malignancy. Now here we have got both mammography as well as ultrasound. Presence of a mass showing tiny calcifications, you can see, then architectural distortion, and there are axillary nodes. If you are seeing axillary nodes, we are seen in more detail which nodes to consider as a malignancy, which to consider as a benign, a mass, characteristic of mass we are seeing. All things we have to club together. Now again here we are showing presence of mass showing tiny calcification, architectural distortion, different cases, the pathology is same, that is a breast malignancy. Again here one more case of similar presence of mass, tiny calcification, architectural distortion. This was proved to be subsequently as a malignancy. Our role is to tell clinician whether the malignancy is there or not, whether the biopsy should be done or not, or patient should be kept on follow-up. All these things will be decided by the radiological appearances, that is the combination of mammography and sonography. Now let's come to the next feature. We are seeing different characteristic, that is the nipple and skin changes and thickening. They are also important as the supportive evidence. Bilateral nipple retraction by and large are benign. If you ask the history, if it is long standing, if it is asymptomatic, nipple retraction can be symptom of CABR and needs correlation with patient history, but in majority cases it's a benign process, being on the longer time or bilateral. May be unilateral or bilateral. Unilateral may develop rapidly and it's an indication that it could be malignancy. Be careful and investigate it thoroughly. There are benign entities causing it and malignancy also. Now, what are the benign condition causes it? Mammary duct ectasia, post-surgical scarring, fat necrosis and fibrocystic changes. These are the few to list, but there are many which can cause nipple retraction. Now these are the cases which are showing you a nipple retraction. Bilateral nipple retraction, the adjacent areolar duct, areolar tissues has to be seen properly. If they show dilatation, then again you will have to go for more investigation because they support malignancy. Now here bilateral nipple retraction, adjacent areolar duct shows dilatation, and it was proved to be non-specific. So duct dilatation you see in benign also and in malignancy also. But if it is there, you will have to investigate and prove that it's a benign process. Often it comes negative, but it is role you have to rule out. You have to take it seriously. If it is unilateral, bilateral, long-standing, okay, keep it on follow-up, but be watchful. Now unilateral nipple retraction, there is no cause found. Often it happens that you investigate it and there is no cause found. Here again you are seeing bilateral nipple retraction, then chronic non-specific was the information given by the pathologist and clinician. Then again here you are seeing a unilateral nipple retraction. Now though there is unilateral nipple retraction, if you see very carefully, there is dilated duct. They are not form a mass, but they are very suspicious for malignancy. There were skin changes also. So practically, radiologically, it was thought as the malignancy, but ultimately it has turned out to be a malignancy. Now these are bilateral partially cystic lesions with skin changes. They have turned out to be malignancy. So in other words, we are showing you only appearance. Looking at the appearance, you cannot really differentiate between a malignancy and benignicity or chronic. The chronic inflammatory and malignancy can be very close to each other. In that condition, wherever you are finding a doubt, best is to go for histopathology. Now what we are seeing here is a breast malignancy with skin changes. Now see the puckered appearance, retracted nipple. So whenever there is a skin changes, wherever there is a mass below it, you think of the malignancy. It goes more in favor of malignancy. Presence of mass showing tiny calcification, architecture dismemberment, scale changes and nipple retraction, all are going in favor of malignancy. Now let's come to breast malignancy with skin changes. Now here we have seen one case just now. Now we are coming to a second case. Now here we are seeing a large lesion, presence of mass showing tiny calcification, architectural distortion, skin changes and nipple retraction. Now let us come to the another fact, that is mammographic features. Last is the axillary lymphadenopathy. Lymphadenopathy plays a major role in diagnosis. Now here you are seeing lymph nodes. Now we have already discussed all the characters of lymph node. It should be larger, it should be heterogeneous, it should lose the fatty hilum, it should break the cortex. If all these things are present, then you have got no differential than to put this as a malignant lesion. Look at this, another malignant axillary lesion. Of course, here we have got more importance for the sonography and Doppler. Mammography picks a node. It gives us idea there is a node. But really what is inside the node, that is the subcategorization, that is to know the hilum, to know the vascularity, to tell about the loss of fat from the hilum, to show the cortical thinning, to tell the breaking of the cortex. Ultrasound scores better. We are coming to end of another lecture on mammography and breast diseases. Today we have discussed in detail all signs of malignancy which are seen on mammography. We have seen a mass, we have seen the mass characteristic, we have seen the calcification, we have seen the calcification characteristics, we have seen the lymph node, we have seen the lymph node characteristics, and we have seen the supportive evidences like nipple retraction and all that thing. With that, we are coming to the end of this lecture. I thank you for giving me your valuable time. Please note, radiologically is not a race, it's a process. Be a part of it and enjoy the feast of knowledge. I am Dr. Anil Joshi logging off. Till we meet again, we have try to give you within our limits by taking help of different illustrations how a different pathologies of breast differs. However, we have also told you it is not possible to standardize a single technique or single principle by which a breast disease can be diagnosed. You have to apply your knowledge, you have to analyze the images, you have to take into consideration supporting evidences so that you can arrive at a correct conclusion to detect cancer in early stage, number 1, and number 2 is to reduce the number of biopsies. But when indicated, yes, don't hesitate to do it. With that, I request you to give your best to the patient so that you will be a part of the organization, part of a movement which are trying to reduce breast cancer from the society by detecting in an early stage, that is carcinoma in situ, and to give patient 100% cure. Thank you. Take care.